bumping away and steaming for all to see. El Cachorro, El Cachorro. There's a dawn superheroes day today for you and me. El Cachorro, El Cachorro.
Welcome, El Cachorro. It's time for our review of Godzilla and Kong: A New Empire. And I haven't talked much about this in a while. I kind of went into a Aaron Rodgers seclusion. I was done watching trailers. I was done seeing leaks and stuff. So I've been trying to kind of just avoid most stuff. So I wanted to see the movie because that's what it's about. Seeing the movie, man. So I was tired of seeing spoiler stuff, so I just kind of stopped paying attention to things for a bit. But I did go opening night last night to see the movie. Would have made the video yesterday, but I was a little tired afterwards and crashed pretty hard. So let's record it now. I absolutely love this movie. I had a blast with it. I know it's not been super popular with some people online. People are poo-pooing on it because we live in a day and age where people poo-poo everything. That's what's cool. That's hate videos get them clicks. That's so most of them focus on hate clicks videos. So I don't do that. I don't go with a super critical mind. I go into, hey, do I enjoy a movie? Do I have fun with a movie? That's what matters to me. If it's fun, if it's a good time, and that's at the end of the day what matters. Do you enjoy movies? Do you enjoy the movie? So. Let's see. So let's talk about let's look at the reviews, shall we? Let's go over here first. Let's start at Rotten Tomatoes. So right now we have a critics rating of 54%. So good portion of the critics are poo-pooing the movie and calling it trash. Yes, this is not an Oscar caliber movie. If you want a super thinking movie where you got super in-depth, really deep story, go see Dune 2. Absolutely fantastic. I gave it a 9.5, I believe. Did I make that? Did I put that video out? I think I did. So it's a great movie. Now, if you want to I want to go have a movie and have some fun, this is your movie. If you're not really much of a Godzilla fan, you're probably not going to like the movie. If all you know about Godzilla is Shin Godzilla and Godzilla -1, you're probably not going to like the movie. If you know the names of most of the guys on my shirt, you might like this movie. Or if you're a kid, you might like this movie. This is definitely feels like a Showa era Godzilla movie. Maybe with some Heisei in there as well. Showa Heisei type Godzilla movie. Which is cool. That's okay. You're allowed to have just silly movies. Not everything's got to be this super dark or super serious or all this and that. You can have fun movies, people. It's okay. Enjoy that. So people are overreacting to this. As you can see, the audience score so far is 93%. So the audience, for the most part, is saying, hey, we like this movie. It's fun. Is it good? Is the story good? No. Are the human characters great? No. But it's insane. It's wacky. It's a great blast. You got monster battles that are just killing it. So, audience so far actually drops 1% of that. It's giving it about 4.5 out of 5. Critics are giving it about just under 6 out of 10. Top critics hate. Oh wow, the top critics. Top critics hate it even more. You know what I say about critics? Stuff it. Nobody cares about what you think anyways. You guys are freaking overpaid morons and no one likes. Everybody hates every single one of you. Or they follow you for your hate reviews. Even the ones I like. The ones that I'd hope would be more on the side, like at Angry Joe show, even kind of poo-pooed the movie a little bit. Look, man, I'd say you're a huge Godzilla fan, but you don't seem to know too much about Godzilla. You didn't even know Shimu's name. I mean, we know who Shimu has been. The name Shimu has been out for several months now. But I digress, shall we? The audience, for the most part, is liking it, which is great to see. It's just ridiculous. It's fun. It's just some stuff that's over the top. The story, like I said, is not the greatest thing in the world. We know Kong is at Hollow Earth. He's looking for fellow members of his species because he's lonely and he wants, and apes do live in social groups, so it makes sense. So he's looking for more of his species. There's these electromagnetic signals that are being picked up by the surface, and people try to figure out what they are. Godzilla's living at the surface. He's protecting the surface from other titans going rogue, and he's also starting to pick up on these signals, and it's causing him to act strangely. And we got like some super over the top technological gizmos and stuff like that, and we also have a subplot. The little girl's having psychic visions because she's also connected to the signals, and she's struggling with getting along with other humans at the surface because remember she is the last remaining member of the native islanders from Skull Island. Now, keep in mind, though, folks, this is the same franchise, so we had aliens invade the Earth like 10 times, a monster made of pollution, a monster that had the soul, which, let's see, the soul of a dead woman was put into a flower that was mutated into a monster. Then the essence of that monster had Godzilla cells in it, so it went into space, went through a black hole, went through a white hole, and that created a space Godzilla. That's two different movies, I know. We have a time travel story. We have people building giant robots. Yes, Mechagodzilla was in the last movie. Think about that. People are building giant skyscraper-sized fighting robots to fight Godzilla with unlimited arsenals. Godzilla stories are pretty far-fetched. The problem with this movie following GM1, Godzilla Minus One, is that left a lot of snobs with like the stuck up, this movie's not going to be Godzilla Minus One. It's not trying to be Godzilla Minus One. It clearly isn't trying to go for that. That's a totally different movie, a totally different feel, and it's for those people that act like, oh, America can't do the dark, serious Godzilla movies like Toho has. Newsflash for you, Toho doesn't do it either. Gojira, 1954. Then we're going to go all the way up to Godzilla Returns in 1984. That's 40 years before we got a dark, serious Godzilla movie. Biollante had maybe some essence of dark, but it wasn't really. Most of the Heisei era was not dark. Destroyer, you might argue it, but it's not really. Millennium Era wasn't really too dark either. So then you're going to Shin Godzilla and Godzilla Minus One. 4 of 30-something movies from Godzilla are dark. Maybe you could work in the anime movies, but they were just ridiculously bad. That anime trilogy was awful. So yeah, newsflash: Godzilla's not typically dark and serious, even by his home studio. So sorry. Then we have our human characters. We have a couple that returned from the previous movie. We have Rebecca Hall reprising Eileen Andrews, Brian Tyree reprising Bernie, and Kaylee reprising Gia. So we brought those characters back from the first movie. We introduced Dan Stevens as Trapper. This guy has a small. These three are supporting characters for most of the parts of the movie. Then I'd say anybody else, all these other humans are barely in the movie at all. That's a small cast. So you're going to have the people, why do it's all focused on the humans? Actually, it's not. You have these 4 guys here pretty much helping direct, keep the story moving. but the most of the part of the movie focuses on Kong. So, as a Godzilla fan, you might get most of that, but keep in mind before you react, this movie initially was supposed to be a Kong solo movie. They later decided it needed to have Godzilla in it. They didn't think Kong could carry the movie by himself. A kind of little jet jaguar, that he needed Godzilla in to help him. So the cool thing is, I went and saw the movie at Regal, and when I went in, let's go back to the main big screen for this one. Oh, wrong one. This one. They had a couple display items. There was a popcorn tin and a souvenir cup. And they had the one they had on display had a little Kong on top. Like, oh, they got a Kong cup. So I was telling the guys, like, is there a Godzilla one? So if there's a Godzilla one, I'll buy it. Because yeah, we got Godzilla. It's like, all right, I'll take one of those Godzilla. He's like, oh, it's a thing. You got to buy both. So it was there was the souvenir cup and the souvenir popcorn tin combo for $30. It's a little pricey, but I said fuck it, let's do it. Where we at? 10 minutes in, so I guess I'm allowed to curse at this point. Damn, it's already been 10 minutes. So that's my cup. There's my little Godzilla figure on the top. You got good. I still got drink in it because I didn't even finish the drink. Because the big, I don't know what, like 64 ounces or something like that, so I didn't even get through it all. And then there's my popcorn tin. You can see I didn't even finish the popcorn either. You went with someone else. My brother was with me, but he already bought food. He bought popcorn and drink ahead of me. Or this would probably be ideal as a popcorn to share because it was a massive popcorn. Cold popcorn still works though, right? Still good. We'll go with it. Pop probably not so much. Pop probably fly as hell. Godzilla, you're blocking me, man. Yeah, it's kind of flat. Oh well. So I was like, that was a must get. So I splurged. So it's not a good movie, quality wise. Well, on critics' standards, yes, it's not a good movie, but it's a great fun movie. You're gonna see this movie. You're gonna have fun. Like I said, you know these guys. If you know Showa Era Godzilla, you're gonna like it. If you like, pretty much some Heisei Era because there's a lot of atomic breath type attacks in the movie. So obviously the Heisei Era went heavy on those. So for that stuff, it's a fun movie. You're just go in, expect to just sit back and have silly fun. It's good for kids. It's just fun. It's it's wacky craziness that so you get sometimes from Godzilla. Final Wars did it. The Showa Era did it. There's parts of the Heisei Era that were kind of kooky at times. Parts of the Millennium Era that was kooky at times. I give it an 8. It's right up there with King of the Monsters. All the franchise so far, for some reason there's a big love for 2014 all of a sudden. Everyone acts like, oh my god, 2014 was so great. It was so serious and so dark. I don't know, everybody wants dark and serious all the time. But when 2014 came out, all people did was bitch about that movie. Not enough Godzilla. The human characters were so terrible. The military guy was terrible. All people did is complain about the movie. But now all of a sudden everyone loves that movie and says that's the best one in the series. It kind of reminds me of the Star Wars fans that crapped all over the prequel trilogy when it came out, which deservedly so because they're not good. The dialogue's bad. The CGI in it was absolutely did not age well at all. But now the Disney sequel came out and they're like, oh, the prequel trilogies are so far superior to the sequel trilogy. No, sorry, the sequel trilogy is kind of better. Some of the movies, well, the sequel trilogy is better than some of the prequels. Attack of the Clones is a freaking awful movie, period. Phantom Menace is also awful. If you take out Darth Maul, it's not watchable. But I digress. This isn't that kind of video. So King of the Monsters is my number one because I'm a Ghidorah stan. I love my Ghidorah. Ghidorah's the coolest bad guy of all Godzilla history. A three-headed golden dragon from space. I mean, come on. We get a couple name drops of Ghidorah in this movie, too. So he gets a couple little mentions here and there. I do like Kong Sky Island would probably be number 2. Then I might put this and Godzilla vs. Kong are pretty neck and neck. They're both about the same. And then 2014 is probably my least favorite of the legendary movies. I've found out from a G-Fest why that story was so bad, because the military made it bad. Because they refused to let the military character have much character depth. And so, yeah, so it was like, the Mutas weren't that great of... Mutas are kind of boring designs. You go in the next movie, you have Ghidorah. And then even Shimu and Scar King are better designs than the Mutos. But let's get back to the current movie. Alright, so I give it an 8. Like I said, my final rating is I give this movie 8. I think it's a good watch for a Godzilla fan, for real Godzilla fans. If you're a big Godzilla, you grew up on Godzilla and you love all Godzilla stuff, you're going to love this movie. All you know from Godzilla, like I said, is Godzilla -1. And that's now, you call yourself a Godzilla fan because you saw Godzilla -1. No, don't bother. You're just going to bitch about this movie. And I've already seen people in Godzilla groups in Facebook already doing so. Because it's anything, we got to poo anything that Hollywood makes us. We got to hate Hollywood because don't act like it's not political. It's political. As much as I hate to say that. But it's an 8. Now we're going to get into the story a little bit more. Go to my cover. So we open up with Kong in the Hollow Earth. You get one of those old-timey songs playing like they did in GVK. He's actually on the run from a pack of these dog hyena-like things. And he's leading them to this area where he's got some traps laid out. And Kong loves, Kong has this thing where he always likes to rip things apart and let them bleed all over him. So he rips one of them up. So he has like a pit thing, like those things they run on and then they fall into a pit trap and some other kind of things set up there, some other traps set up. So he's been making traps. And he rips one apart and its blood falls all over him. So he's now bleeding blood, and the other ones so some of the other ones end up taking off running. And he goes and showers because, he's got to go shower and get cleaned up. So he's trying to eat one of them, but he's got a broken tooth, so it's bothering him. We see the Titan that everybody loved in that last movie. I can't remember what they named him. I can't recall the name. There's a name that everybody calls him. He makes a little appearance. He steals Kong's food when he can't eat most of it because of his tooth. You see Kong's lonely. He's sad. He's lonely. He's searching He's been searching the Hollow Earth and he hasn't been able to find any of his own kind. Then we cut to the humans who are telling us that governments who are complaining about Godzilla's attacks. Like he's pretty much showing that, hey, he's saving us. He's protecting us. We see it, and then we get a spot where Godzilla's fighting, I think it was Greece. It's fighting Cilia, I believe is what they called it. It's their spider Kamongo ripoff monster that they came, so they didn't have the rights to Kamaga. So you get a nice little battle of that, and Godzilla quickly beats its ass and does the down its mouth, because that's Godzilla's just like get in your face and shoot his atomic breath right in your face. He's kind of a dick. Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna shoot my shit right in your face. He's like. So he beats him, goes back into the water. He beats him. This was Rome, wasn't it? I think it was Rome. No, not. Yeah, Rome's not in Greece. I don't know. He lays down in the Roman Colosseum and take a nap. So he's kind of made that his bed. Meanwhile, there's the Hollow Earth outpost picks up these seismic spikes. These 3 spikes. They're starting to keep repeating. And then we see Gia at the surface at a Monarch Academy, trying to go to school, and she's kind of dozing off, and then she has a psychic vision of something coming, and she also sees the spikes. And while she's having a psychic vision, she's like drawing insane. You know, where you see some people have visions and they start just drawing uncontrollably, and she draws 3 spike things. That the doctor mom realizes it's the same spikes as the seismic pulse that they're picking up at the down there, and so they're connected. So she's trying to figure out what's going on because she's having a hard time with the daughter because the daughter's feeling out of place. She is, that she don't belong here. So that leads the mom to go to Bernie, our character, our conspiracy theorist guy from the last movie, who we'll talk about some of the fun. I should make a video just talking about some of the plot holes, how bad some of the plot holes were in that movie, but it was still fun. She goes to him for help because supposedly she thinks he can help her. And he's like wanting a story about the Hollow Earth and stuff like that because supposedly his people aren't, his followers aren't believing any of his stuff. So they go to a Monarch base where one of the portals is. I can't remember what the location of this one was. It's like a bay. The portal's like underwater inside of like a bay. So they're there talking about trying to figure out what's going on. The portal opens and Kong comes out. Kong comes to the surface, which is a huge no-no. The deal is Kong's supposed to stay below ground. Godzilla rules the upper ground. So they're worried about if Godzilla knows Kong's here, he's going to come here to kill him. So they're pretty much set up that Godzilla is just the super powerful, unstoppable beast. You come up you mess up at the surface, Godzilla's going to take your ass out. So telling, and we get that throughout the movie, is embarking that, yeah, you don't want to mess with Godzilla. Godzilla is the shit. So Kong comes to surface because of the tooth issue. Obviously, he has a bond with the humans, so he came there for help. That's when they introduce the Trapper character. He's like a Titan vet. So he comes in, he pulls the tooth, and we see him do the tooth pull. And then somewhere off screen, he implants like a metal implant tooth. We find out that him and the doctor chick have a history with each other. And so meanwhile this is going on, you see kind of a scene where the outpost in the Hollow Earth gets attacked by something. You see some camera footage of what looks like part of an ape. Meanwhile, Godzilla goes to wakes up, jumps into the ocean, swims over to a nuclear reactor in France, destroys it, and then drains all the electricity. Supposedly he's picking up on these signals too that's coming out. Drains all the electricity. All the electricity. Draws the radiation, sorry. And now he's like supercharged. And there's even a spot where some planes went and attacked him, and he uses his pulse attack, which looked really awesome. So they did a great job on it. It does his pulse attack, take out all the planes that are attacking him. Meanwhile, they know something's going on with the Hollow Earth. And then they lost contact with the outpost, so they're going on a mission. Bernie works his way into the mission. Kong wakes up from his dental surgery. He jumps in the portal to open the portal for him, and they go down there and follow him in. So Kong goes off once he gets down there. The team goes to the outpost to find it is destroyed. I mean, we get to see him with some flying critters that create bioelectricity that they'll tie in a little scene with them later on. The outpost is absolutely destroyed. They see the 3 red lines, the mark of the Scar King, and know something destroyed that. So they get back in. They find a camera and they get back in their vessel, for lack of a better word. And while they're there, they get the camera footage to see that it was some kind of ape. So they know there's something in Kong species. They don't know what. So they're trying. Kong finds where he had the traps and stuff before. Well, a sinkhole opened up in the Hollow Earth somewhere, when he was fighting. I think it started from where he was fighting the hyena. We did see where the scene opened up. I guess it was from when he was fighting the hyena things. With these blue glowing walls. So Kong finds that and he does the scene where he uses the axe to slide all the way down to the bottom and lights them up. And he goes out an opening, and we see there's like a second Hollow Earth. It's like the subterranean level. So there's like, I guess, the Hollow Earth level, then there's another level down here. So how many Hollow Earths could there be? I mean, so we're getting multiple Hollow Earths, I guess, now. So you see some other animals when he first gets there. Next thing you know, we get the scene where he sees a giant being coming at him from the fog that shrinks down to the little baby Kong. And you get a scene where he puts the axe down, and he reaches out to befriend it, and the little one comes up to him all soft and gentle, and bites his finger, and causes him to smack it. Then a couple other Kong ape things come and attack him. They all have like wet knives and stuff with them, and so he's to a little battle with him and those Kongs. One goes to fall off a cliff, and he catches them and pulls them back up to save their life, and then they try and attack him and stab him, so he ends up kicking them back off, letting them fall to their death. Because, hey, you only get one. The little baby's attacking him a few times. There's one point where he grabs the little baby Kong, and starts using him to whack the other ones. So he's smacking the other ones with it. That part was pretty hilarious. So he's like, baby Kong, boom, 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 beat up the other ones. So he beats the other guys up. One of them pretty much takes all. One gets away. Kong keeps the baby though, and kind of like is demanding, "Hey, take me to your home." Meanwhile, the humans are trying to investigate the closest thing to the ridge as they can, so they land on this island. Our fire pilot guy, who's kind of cool, gets eaten by some tree things, so that's our one super direct human kill. There's plenty of human deaths in this movie. It's just not glorified or shown, but if you think about it, it's like thousands. Pretty much you get that in all these movies have had technically thousands of people die. I mean, I guess. Let's see which one's really glorious. Godzilla 2014. I guess there was some deaths you didn't really see. Obviously, people died in the San Francisco battle. Probably people died in Vegas as well. People probably died in Boston in Godzilla King of the Monsters. People died from Rodan. I mean, there was a couple of deaths, obviously, when Ghidra came to life. A lot of the military people, obviously, had died. And then Boston was supposed to be mostly evacuated, but there's probably still people there as well. We definitely saw San Francisco showing off further in Monarch with all the death that was caused in that one. Obviously, a lot of people probably got killed in Hong Kong when Godzilla attacked. Godzilla and them fought in Hong Kong. There's probably a lot of deaths in that one. So it's always some human collateral deaths in the city. You just see it from a very where the humans are ants, so you don't really register it. So. I forgot what I was talking about here. Where was that in the movie? Were we at in the story? I forgot. Oh. So this was probably the only really glorified human death. Was a tree came out and killed. He was kind of an Irish fighter pilot of the vehicle. He was supposed to be like the big security guy. So they stumble their way across a temple showing that there's been humans down in the Hollow Earth. And it's the Iwo Jima people from Skull Island. So this shows that they originated from the Hollow Earth and moved to the Skull Island. So the little girl is able to kind of figure out how their temple works and is able to push something that causes this water irrigation that leads them to this biomass giant wall thing. That if you touch it, you can see it was like bioelectric and stuff like that. They realize it's a barrier. They kind of rip it open and leads them to what's on the inside. They get caught by some native people, which obviously turn out to be the Iwo Jima people. So that's her people. And they take them to their melee area. And then they end up meeting like the queen, and she's able to connect with the daughter, and they talk by telepathy, and we find out that they're the ones sending the signal. While this is going on, like I said, Godzilla gets supercharged. We see him go into the water, and he's swimming off. So like he's powering up for something. We have some more spots with Kong and the little one leading Kong. So they come to this big lake, and I guess the little one kind of says, "Hey, yeah, you want to drink some water? Just get something to drink." So he gets Kong, and like lowers his guard and turns his back to the lake, and he's drinking the water. And you see the little one like, mm-hmm. So you know he's setting him up for something. So he says, and all of a sudden behind Kong, you see something swimming through the water, and he gets attacked by this giant water serpent thing. If you play Power World, kind of reminds me of Dormitide. So he's fighting that, and the little one tries to escape, running. Next thing you know, the axe comes in, lands in front of the little one, trips him, and then the head of the serpent comes flying in front of him too, and then there's Kong. So Kong beat it. It was off screen, so that's disappointing. That's going to, I'm sure, anger people for not showing that. But it was a minor battle. But so we have Kong continue leading the little one. The little one's still like scared of Kong and fearful and scared. And Kong even offers him. We get to the point where Kong offers him some food and stuff like that. And you can see the little one starting to warm up and realize that hey, he's not trying to hurt me. He's being nice. So the little one's starting to warm up to him a little bit. We find out Godzilla's heading to the Arctic. And they do this like, well, what Titans are in that area, and it turns out being the Titan he's heading. They determine he's heading towards is a Titan Behemoth, which is supposed to be a water serpent who soaks up energy from solar radiation from the sun, and has super high energy, is like a highly powerful energy Titan, and has that fluorescent magenta, fine, you can call it pink if you want to color. It's not really pink, it's fluorescent purple. If you look at a spectrum of gamma of radiation, fluorescent purple is the strongest form of radiation. Next to that is the bright darker purple, the dark purple, which you see from Shin Godzilla, by the way, uses. Then you got the blues where traditional Godzilla is. So you got traditional Godzilla. Then there's the purple that would be the same color Shin Godzilla uses. And then this bright fluorescent purple-ish pink magenta is like the ultra strong radiation color that's associated with that kind of the strongest radiation levels. So they're kind of worried that why is Godzilla going after him? Why is Godzilla going here? Meanwhile, at the Iwo Jima problem, we get back to the humans, because we gotta kind of tell you what's going on with the story, because the other monsters obviously don't talk. So they let them know that there's a story of the Iwo Jima people. They tell the story of how apes were the big thing on the land. That there was a evil ape that wanted to take over the entire globe, the whole planet, the hollow earth, and the surface, named the Scar King, who even imprisoned a legendary titan called Shimu, who was responsible for the Ice Age. So, and it was forcing him to do his bidding through pain and stuff. So it was like would hurt, which we'll see later on. So they're kind of telling you how this stuff's working. That Godzilla was able to trap them in the subterranean layer. He buried them in the subterranean layer and trapped them down there, so they couldn't even get to the hollow earth, where they could even get to the surface. So Godzilla was responsible for trapping them. And then it talks, there's like, well, he's trying to get back to the surface. He's trying to still his goal is to still take over the surface. So obviously he's very old. I mean, I suppose most of these guys are. Kong's supposedly the one that might be the youngest of the group. And they're worried about could Godzilla stop him? And like, well, this is where you get the line from the trailer. Is like, we won't have to do it alone. He'll have help. The trailer makes you think it's referring to Kong needing Godzilla's help. Well, when they actually say it in the movie, it's talking about Godzilla won't be doing it fighting Scar King alone. He's going to have help. Their prophecy refers to Mothra, the legendary monster that was supposed to be, The protector, the Iwo Jima people were kind of worshipful. So pretty much the Skull Island people are kind of getting mixed in with the Mothra's Island people. So the people that they're kind of the people that would also worship the Mothra. No twins, no little fairies in this one, so you don't get too much of the traditional Mothra. Although Godzilla King of the Monsters had 2 twin women in it that their twins ran in their family forever, so that paid homage to it. So there was supposed to be a person of their tribe from the surface was supposed to come down here to awaken Mothra. So it's pretty much saying it's the little girl. That's why she's having the visions, because she's connected. So for all the people that are bitching about her having these psychic visions and how it makes no sense in the story, well, it's because she's the one, she's getting them because she's connected to it, because the signal is for her to come wake up Mothra, because they could tell the Scar King was getting close to getting free, especially with Kong, searching the Hollow Earth. It's gonna lead to the Scar King getting free and trying to take over everything again. So they know they're sending a signal to get Mothra so they could get Godzilla. For Mothra to get Godzilla, because Mothra and Godzilla have a bond. So while that's going on, we get Kong arrives at the base. And he sees that there's a bunch of tons of apes and they're enslaved and they're being forced into this heavy labor. And then there's like guard apes that are beating and whipping on the ones that when they get weak and can't do the labor. And so Kong has to jump down there and he protects one of the weaker, older apes that were being punished. And stands his ground head to head with one of the guard apes. Meanwhile, the other ape that we saw from the fight before is also there. He sees Kong. He runs to like the boss. And then we get the Scar King comes in and he's kind of slender, but he's more lengthy. He's got way longer. His arms are super long, so he's more chimpanzee or orangutan-ish, I guess, in design. It's more slinky. So he jumps down, starts confronting Kong. He actually starts making fun of Kong because of the metal tooth, showing that he's augmented. And then that leads to a battle between the two. And he has this thing wrapped on his chest, and he unravels it. And it's like this whip bone spine thing that he can whip around and attack with. So the fight starts with him getting the upper hand for a while, for most of it. Until we get to a point where Kong kind of turns the table. But the Speak has this little crystal thing at the end. And he orders his guys to drop a rock in this lava waterfall, which opens up the pit. And he's able to use the crystal to call out Shimu, his secret weapon, who comes out and starts attacking Kong with ice breath. He's trying to use the axe to defend itself, and like how he does it against Godzilla's breath, but it's too strong, and you can see the axe kind of freezing over, and then his whole arm getting frozen, which he has to break free of the ice. So you got kind of instant frostbite. He drops his axe as well. And the little one kind of waves him around. The little baby one who's now on his side, who also has a parent maybe killed or something was killed by the Scar King. Just a minute ago. You see that in the scene as well. Pretty much directs Kong to an escape cave. So Kong pretty much goes on the run. He only has one arm because his other arm's pretty much frostbitten. And Scar King sends a group of monkeys after him. Meanwhile, Godzilla makes it to Tiamat. And he's another serpent-like an underwater battle. It's an underwater battle, and this is another serpent-like creature. And he's kind of doing the whole little typical serpent thing. I think the other one did too, where they wrap around one. We get a cut to the surface, and we see Godzilla's atomic breath shoot off and cut back and kind of in a wave. Next thing you know, you see pieces of Tiamat float to the surface. So, of course, we get another Godzilla kills them off screen. We don't get to see the battle, which is, I guess, I get that. It's disappointing. But then Godzilla goes into Tiamat's lair to start soaking up the energy. So they know Godzilla is really powering up. He's trying to get as much power as he can for something. And people are like, man, Godzilla's powering up hardcore. Because he senses something's coming. Then we get to the scene where Kong, the other apes are chasing Kong, and they get to this part where this canyon part where Kong has also laid some more traps. He's got like a swinging log that comes down, takes that one. Then he's like a little tripwire, but they catch it, so they step over the tripwire. They avoided the trap. All of a sudden, you see the rope snap and all these rocks pile down on him. And you see little baby Kong followed, and he was up there, and he tripped the trap for Kong to save him. Then they walk off looking for help, and one of the guys that just got trapped in the rubble is able to break free and follow them. This is actually I may have got something out of order. Kong ends up going to where the Iwo Jima people are. They open up the bubble, the bio camouflage bubble, to let him in. Him and the baby Kong in because Kong needs help. And the guy that's failing him sees him go in, and then he goes back to report it to Scar King. So Kong collapses because he's from the pain and stuff in his frostbitten arm. This is where we find out. This is where the story gets a little wacky. Another wacky part of the story. That since Kong and humans have a bond and they communicate with each other, there's once a theory of coming up with certain technology stuff to enhance Kong, so that he could, be stronger against some other titans, possibly, I guess, even Godzilla. The plan they didn't believe in the plan would work, so they scrapped it. But there was one prototype design, which just happens to be a glove, just that would fit the hand that's damaged. Of course, just what luck, right? It just happens to be stored in the Hollow Earth at the armory that was next to the outpost. That's, I guess, hidden inside of a mountain, so that's why Scar King didn't destroy it. So they're able to go use one of these transport ships that we saw when they did the tooth thing to pick it up, carry it to Kong. It goes onto his arm, locks into place, and injects him with some stuff to help heal his frostbite and give him some feeling back in his hands. And yeah, this is where like I said, this is part of the movie where it's silly. We get it. That's what happens in the movie. It's silly. So Kong gets the power glove. The little girl says something to him, and he goes climbing up, and he goes through one of the portals in the ceiling that takes him to the surface. And they're like, "What did you tell him?" He's like, "I told him he needs help. He needs to go get help." So they're like, "Oh no, he's going. Can he get Godzilla? Is he going to go get Godzilla?" So we also get the part. So Kong goes to Egypt, comes out of the hole. It's in Egypt. He does a roar, and then we see, I don't know where it was, Gibraltar or something like that, I believe. Godzilla's like standing on top of this mountain, just perched on this mountain, like overlooking the ocean. I guess he hears Kong's roar, so he roars and does this giant leap off the mountain into the water. It's insanely ridiculous, but it was cool. I can't lie. Godzilla this giant leap into the lands into the ocean. It was probably would have caused a tsunami, by the way. But so he's going there to go face off with Kong. And we have the scene where the little girl goes up and she does her thing and she awakens Mothra. So a nice, good golden Mothra comes alive. Mothra looks amazing, just like Mothra does. And she knows her role. She takes off flying and she goes for one of the portals as well. Godzilla shows up in Egypt. And Kong's like, so he starts charging Kong, and Kong's doing this. Like, no, wait. But trying to stop him from fighting. But, Godzilla's a rage machine, man. Godzilla's a kick your ass first, ask questions later kind of guy. So they get into a kind of a brawl. And Godzilla's getting the upper hand for a minute, and then Kong's finally able to turn the tables and end up being able to pound Godzilla in the head with his power glove, the temporary to knock him out. And then we have a scene where he's dragging Godzilla by the tail towards the portal, and Godzilla wakes up and starts shooting his atomic blast at him. The supercharged atomic blast, which leads to the final point where Godzilla's getting the upper once again. Once Godzilla gets the upper hand, you're pretty much doomed. So Godzilla gets upper hand. He's got him pinned down with his foot on the ground. He's getting ready to do the atomic blast to the face move. All of a sudden, a giant burst of light comes in and knocks Godzilla off his feet. And landing on the Sphinx is Mothra with the little girl. Godzilla just comes down and looks at Mothra and looks at the little girl. And then there's a big old roar to the surface of the moon. So with Kong, we get that little scene that you see. So that, hey, they're on board. Godzilla's on board now. Meanwhile, the Scar King, who's already been tracking his way through the upper layer, who's come to the Hollow Earth level layer, and he's found his way to the Iwo Jima tribe area, and they're trying to cut open the barrier, and they're coming in. So the tribe's all going in the retreat. They come up with this plan that's supposed to... Now, I've seen some people misquoting what this. Supposedly they're trying to cave stuff in. I think they're trying to cave in the holes. The trap, close the holes. So they're setting off this red liquid stuff that's supposed to like cause the top to collapse onto the bottom, bring everything from above down or something like that. Is how they're laying it. There's like a little short explanation to try and explain what's about to happen to the people. That people I've seen some people bitch about that. They told us a couple times what's about to happen because because what they're about to do is going to be extremely wacky and weird, and they're trying to explain to get you on board on what the hell's what's going on in this scene. So when everything collapses, it's supposed to create like a 0G environment thing for a few minutes before the rest of the collapse happens. From my understanding, I don't know. I have to see the movie again to make sure it makes sense of what they're doing here. But before that can happen, Scar King's there, and he sees that there's portals in the ceiling, so he uses Shimu to create an ice bridge connecting two of the crystals together so that they have a way to climb up to it. All of a sudden, you hear the Godzilla roar, and I see this like little this light beam just shoot down, like something just teleported in, like a falling star kind of thing. Then you get the scene where Godzilla and Kong come coming up and running. Scar King is riding Shimu, and he starts charging as well. And then as they're running, King Kong kind of jumps on the Godzilla's back, and you get the famous scene where you got the things all charging at each other as they get closer. The both apes end up jumping towards each other, so they're jumping at each other in the air while the other two are coming at each other there. But right before they clash, all of a sudden, that's when the bomb thing goes off, separates them, and now we're in 0G, baby. And I cannot even describe this scene. It's almost like they're fighting underwater, but in a way, but it's just chaos. It's pure chaos. So all our four monsters are kind of taking turns battling each other. There's some of Scar's army in there as well. And they're fighting with the little monkeys fighting some of them. Then you have scenes where Mothra's just zooming in and just spitting out webbing, like pop them, grabbing an ape, sticking him to a floating rock, boom, doing another one. He's just pinning down all these apes. We also have the scene, I guess I forgot to mention, before that happens, the other dude took off on the vessel, and he brought back he used it because we showed they could camouflage and look like these flying things at the beginning that could shoot bioelectricity. So he brings them all in as a swarm, and they're shooting off their bioelectricity at the bad guys to slow them down a little bit, and until they get it's kind of cool scene, but it's like just nothing but a slow down tactic. But and you have Mothra saving the people. Mothra's protecting the other guy. Mothra just good old Mothra. So as the battle's raging on, there's a scene where somebody kicks Scar King, and it sends him twirling and floating towards one of the vortex teleports. So he falls through, and I guess that kind of creates a gravity pull. That pulls Shimu in, it pulls Godzilla in. Kong's getting sucked in. He tries to use his axe to grab to the side, but he's not able to. And it makes him he loses the grip on his axe, so it's stuck in the wall. So they all get teleported to Rio de Janeiro. The Scar King's like, oh my god, I finally made it to the surface, but the sun's super bright. So he uses a crystal to order Shimu to shoot his freeze breath in the sky and makes like a giant dark cloud, so it's not as bright. Then they start attacking the city. Just, like I said, we're probably going to kill thousands and thousands of people in the scene, but they're all ants, so you can't tell. So they start their attack in the city. Then Godzilla and Kong show up, and they start their. Well, Kong shows up first, starts the attack, and then Godzilla comes out, busts out of like the frozen ocean, and starts his attack. So you got everybody battling all over the place. The city's getting destroyed. And they're taking turns. Sometimes they're switching off and fighting each other's enemy. So another great battle scene, just pure chaos. Then what really turns, so the way the battle pretty much ends is Scar King's using his little whip thing that has the crystal, which, like I said, having the crystal on the end of that you flip at people is probably not very smart. Scar King flips it at Godzilla, who catches it, bites it, and breaks it in half. Because, like I said, Godzilla's a pure powerhouse beast in this movie. I mean, he gets maybe take some licks, but he does not get beat up by much. He pretty much is. Probably could take everybody out. He probably could have took them all by himself. He's just a pure, unadulterated beast. He chomps on it, but he breaks it in half. That causes the crystal to go flying, and it lands on the ground. Then we get like the famous scene that you see in action movies all the time, where characters are trying to fight their way to the crystal. It's like you see it with like the gun, like the characters drop the gun and they're fighting, they're trying to gotta get the gun, I gotta get the gun, no, you gotta I gotta get the gun. So they're kind of fighting with each other, trying to see who can get to the crystal first. I thought it was cool how they're doing that, kind of like I said, kind of doing that typical action scene you would see all the time. So meanwhile, Godzilla is trying to hold off Shimu. Then what I see is the baby Kong who went and got the axe and then jumped through the portals. Now there and he's dragging the axe. And does he give it to Kong and Kong do it, or he does it himself? Can't remember which one. If he did it himself or give it to Kong, takes the axe, breaks the crystal, ending Scar King's hold on Shimu. So Shimu's kind of like, wait, whoa, what's going on? Whoa, I'm free now. So Kong ends up getting the upper hand on Scar King with the metal gauntlet, and he's holding him up by his mitt like this. And Shimu's kind of looking back and forth like, whoa, what am I going to do now? And then you see Godzilla kind of charging, and gives him a big roar. She's like, okay. Kong holds up the Scar King. Shimu starts shooting him with the ice blast, pretty much freezing him. Except for like the part of his face, he's like, argh. Then Kong just takes him, pounds him into the ground, and then starts breaking him into like thousands of pieces. Absolutely bluterizes him. Not a lot of no real blood splatter on this one. You can just see chunks of ice and what looks like body part. Chunks of what appear to be frozen body part chunks. That sounds pretty gory, but it wasn't really gory. And Scar King's defeated. And then Godzilla goes back to the Roman Colosseum to lay down and take a nap, because I guess that's now his lair. Kong goes back to the Hollow Earth. We see him return to where the apes are. He's now riding Shimu with the little guy with him. He gets off and he pets Shimu, and now Shimu's his pet, and he's like his horse. And all the apes now see that Kong is their leader, and they're no longer going to be forced to live in slavery, I guess you could say. Then we have the subplot that was kind of developed where they thought the little girl found her people, and so the mom thought she was going to want to stay with them and leave her. So she's ready to let her go, and she's like, no. There's a line a couple times they've said to each other that I'm with you, you're with me, we're together. She says that, and she wants to stay with her because stay with her mom. It's a nice little heartfelt moment with the human characters, is what it is. And that's where the movie ends. No mid or post credit scenes a hint for anything else. I do know Adam Wingard would love to make more movies. He has said so. So we'll see how the movie does. But like I said, it's goofy, it's fun, it's sometimes ridiculously out there and over the top with insanity, but it's a fun insanity. You watch it and it's just dumb fun. It's super enjoyable. Just eat your popcorn, get you some popcorn, sit back, have a good time with the movie, and have a blast. and you will no doubt have a good time. It's fun for the younger audience. They get their monster battles. As I said, you want your darkness to think about like the hundreds, thousands of people that probably got killed in Rio de Janeiro from the battle, and some of the other battles in the movie that happen in city areas that people technically probably would have died at. If you really want to think, it's like the Man of Steel scene where they're like fighting Zod and they're destroying Metropolis all over the place, and you're like, yeah, people are totally dying in this building, and all the destruction they're doing. Which they played off of in Batman versus Superman a little bit. Was the chaos that came from that. But so you get that, so you got that. But like I said, I give it an 8. It's a fun movie. It's definitely a throwback, modernized version of a Showa era movie. And yeah, that's go see it. Give it its time. Hopefully it does good enough so we keep Godzilla alive for both studios. Keep Legendary making more Godzilla stuff. Keep Toho having faith in Godzilla movies again, so they don't put him back on the shelf. I mean, GM1 alone should tell them that Godzilla's still a money tool. But hopefully, if it does well in America, it also shows them that put Godzilla movies in movies in theaters, and you'll get a good good showing. So hopefully they'll keep doing that. But so yeah, that's my review. It's a long one. No one will probably watch it, but all the way through. But whatever, I'm used to it. So until next time, Cachorro out.